This is Channel M, everywhere.
Let's have a few pence off. We're not asking for pounds, we're asking for a few pennies, really.
I know, well, I'm at work.
Hello, good evening. I'm Andy Crane.
And I'm Jess Dunstan.
It's 5 o'clock. Welcome to Channel M's early evening news.
First tonight, Greater Manchester's motorway traffic ground to a halt at rush hour this morning as hundreds of motorcyclists led a protest about the price of fuel. Richard Butt was there.
This was the M60 at Prestwich this morning as motorcyclists led a protest about the cost of fuel. The police say there were between 400 and 500 of them. They crawled along the motorways into Salford. And some of the protesters obviously wanted to cause havoc in Manchester city centre, but the police stopped them. This was the scene at around 9 this morning at the junction of the M602 and Regent Road, one of the main routes into the city centre. The police blockaded the road into town and there was a good-natured standoff for about 10 minutes as bikers refused to go down the agreed route to Salford Quays.
I respect everything the police have got to say, I really do, and I don't want any trouble today. However, on the same side of that, these guys are here for a city tour. We can't stop them that.
You want to go into town like everybody else seems to here?
Oh, too right, yeah.
Why do you want to do that?
Well, just cause a bit of havoc.
How's it gone so far?
Fantastic. Well, you can see for yourself, Richard, we didn't expect this yesterday.
Yeah.
Not really, I mean, look at this, it's tailed back 3 junctions nearly.
Although the protest inconvenienced other motorists, the ones we spoke to didn't seem to mind.
Understand their cause. I've heard about it and fully support.
That everybody should do it, I think.
Eventually the bikers relented and they went down to the quays.
The protest took a bit longer than we expected. The hauliers, unfortunately, detached themselves from the motorcyclists, which has increased delay and have not obeyed what we wanted them to do in terms of this protest.
The breakaway hauliers were stopped on the M602 and given verbal warnings. Their protest was then dispersed.
We've managed it as best we can to minimise congestion to the public of Manchester.
And the bikers wanted to go into town along Regent Road. Why did you stop them?
Well, we had a plan with an intermediary with them that was never going to happen. It was important for us, for our organisation, that we stuck to that plan. We feel that they'd made the protest and that the protest should now end.
The protest began at Birch Services on the M62 near Middleton. Bikers from all over the north of England gathered there from about 6 a.m. They rode along the M62, the M60 and the M602 at about 20 miles an hour. They were joined by some lorry drivers and other well-wishers.
I hope it's just made Mr Brown realise that it's not just the wagon drivers that are feeling the quash on the tax and the duty on fuel.
I mean, I got up this morning, I passed BP again, fuel station, it's 131.9. You know, it's gone up another 2p and I've only been in bed 12 hours.
There's a few acts off, but majority were giving us a thumbs up, bibbing their arms, letting us know that, they are behind it. They're all lining on the bridges, waving to us.
Let's have a few pence off. We're not asking for pounds, we're asking for a few pennies.
The price of petrol and diesel has shot up in the last year by around 30%. But the main reason for that is a huge hike in the international price of oil. However, the Chancellor is due to increase fuel duty by 2p in October. We'll just have to wait and see whether the strength of feeling shown here has any effect on government tax policy. Richard Butt, Channel M News.
Well, I'm now joined, as you can see, by a couple of the bikers who took part in today's demo. Maverick and Nobby, otherwise known as Stuart and Ryan. Hello to you both.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So, starting with you, Maverick, how did you feel today's protest went?
Today's been absolutely fantastic. Words cannot describe how I've been feeling all day. We've just been on a constant high, and as you can tell, I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been shouting at everyone all day, just congratulating everyone and saying thank you.
Did you run into any problems, Nobby?
Not necessarily, no. We tried coordinating a peaceful protest and that's what we aim to do.
You tried to cause a little bit of chaos to the city centre, didn't you?
It was just something to put the wind up, I think, really.
Well, some people might say, compared to the fuel protests we've seen in Europe, in Paris, we've seen, firecrackers, flares, a lot of aggression over there. Some people would say that your protest today was a little bit lame.
Yeah,
it was.
We've had a lot of feedback from GMP, and they're saying, it was that peaceful
that you could gladly come and do it tomorrow, so to speak.
And how did the motorists feel about it? Some of the commuters, did you get any hassle?
They were fantastically
We had
supportive.
thumbs,
I mean, it's like just going back to the point you just made about GMP. You know, in effect, I think we were too soft on GMP as well. I mean, it was a point where I got into a bit of trouble with them. That's all. We had to go down traffic.
Well, what about the motorists? You didn't have any...
Oh no, the motorists were cheering us on, and they were absolutely fantastic. You know.
Now, do you think the government's really going to listen to your protest today?
There's more to come. Believe me, so if they don't listen today, the bikers are back
It's the
in
start.
force.
It's the start of something.
Absolutely.
Okay, Nobby, what exactly do you want the government to do? I mean, if I was Gordon Brown and you were going to tell me exactly what you wanted me to do, what would you tell me?
I couldn't say it on TV.
Okay, in terms of useful policy making, what would you say?
I think it was just...
It's basically just reduce the VAT.
Yeah, get rid of the VAT.
Just
But
the VAT.
If they completely got rid of the tax, it would leave a huge deficit in the government's budget, which would affect things, you know, public services like health and education.
I have a strong disagreement with that. As I've said before now, VAT, what we pay is, in some terms it is necessary for public services. However, there's a lot of VAT that goes towards the Prime Minister and the likes of the Prime Minister, where they employ partners and cleaners and that sort of thing to run their houses. If they can cut down on a few of their little luxuries, we can have some of ours backed by a reduction in the VAT on fuel.
Okay, very briefly, you mentioned that you've got more protests planned. What exactly have you got planned?
Well,
just have to wait and see, I'm afraid.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
they
nothing
are
concrete.
going to be fantastic.
We can't let the cat out the back.
Okay, well, we'll await with bated breath.
So if this took a week, imagine what we can do in a month.
Interesting. Let's wait and see then. Maverick and Nobby, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Now to another case.